All right, welcome back to the Sunset Connection. I'm your host, Jessica Ho. Today, we're trying something a little different. Joining me is a special co-host, Ted Manahan.
Hello.
A Sunset resident, father, and longtime supporter of local businesses on the West Side. Ted lives just around the corner from Two Pitchers and Maillards. And so we've been watching the excitement grow around their new location, and it felt like the perfect episode to co-host together. Welcome, Ted.
Oh, thanks, Jess, and I appreciate you calling me special.
Today, we're joined by two entrepreneurs who have helped create one of the most talked about new destinations on the west side of San Francisco, Tommy and Max from Two Pitchers and Maillards.
Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
If you've driven down Noriega recently towards the ocean, you've probably noticed the long lines outside their storefront. Today, we're going to be talking about beers, burgers, entrepreneurship, community, and why the Sunset continues to attract businesses that are helping shape the future of San Francisco's west side. Tommy and Max, welcome to the Sunset Connection.
Cheers.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having us.
Ted, why don't you kick us off?
Sure, sounds good. Well, guys, thank you very much again for joining. Really appreciate it. So I've been excited about your burgers and your Two Pitchers for a while, right? Like Jess was saying, I live right around the corner. I was there when you started at the farmers market, Max. And Tommy, I know you started Two Pitchers with your business partner, Wilson,
Yep.
right? In Oakland,
Yeah.
right? And you guys started doing that, I think, 2012. Is that when you first opened?
Yeah, 2012 is when we started up, and we sold our first beer in, I think it was June or July 2013. So it's been like 13 or so years now. So pretty crazy to think back.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And when did your brick and mortar open in Oakland?
In Oakland about 4.5 years ago.
About 4.5 years? Okay. So you guys started as like at home kind of thing, right? Like you had like an incubator. Right?
Yeah, more or less. I think, we were actually living in the inner Sunset, 17th and Irving, and just kind of running stuff out of our house. And we were 22 years old, kind of
Nice.
figured that, why not give this a shot and see if it sticks. And here we are still doing it, almost 15 years later. So it's been really cool. And I think, even better than we would have expected. So.
And your business, Two Pitchers, and there's
Yeah.
a history of the name, right?
Yeah.
So you're a baseball player,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Well, both of you are,
Yeah,
Max
yeah.
as
Yeah.
well.
I know.
But you and your partner Wilson, that's how you met, right?
Yeah, we were pitchers on the baseball team. I think Max has got us beat though. He was at a higher echelon of team, but we were playing D3 baseball up in the woods of Massachusetts at Williams College. And by senior year, social members, I think, was the right way to describe us. There wasn't really a whole lot to do out there except for play baseball and drink beer, and we weren't really playing that much baseball, so we got really into the beer and started homebrewing, started trying as much as we could, and we're just talking a lot about how we could try to get into the industry. And no pun intended, swung for it after we graduated.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, that's great history, the Two Pitchers. I love it. And Max, baseball background for you as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because like you were on like a Major League Baseball track and everything, like heavily recruited. And
I
all
mean, for as far as I can remember, that was the one goal and the only goal I had for years. Everything revolved around it. Flying from high school, even into middle school, trying to be on the best teams. But yeah, it abruptly stopped, when I chose to leave. But for a while, that was the only goal, only dream I had.
And you started cooking while you were playing baseball. Is that right?
I always had a knack for it. My dad loved cooking. My mom, I would cook for myself middle school, high school. And it just came in fruition whenever I started realizing that I do have a true passion for this industry.
So what made you decide to go from baseball to burgers?
Wow, baseball to burgers, that was a big jump. Originally, like I said, I had a knack for it for a while. And then my brother, Cameron, worked on Maui, Wolfgang Puck, restaurant industry for years. He and I had a conversation that he was going to start a restaurant in San Francisco. And at the time, I was a sophomore in college. And I was like, he is opening up that restaurant. I might take this opportunity and try to get in as quickly as I can. And that's how it came about.
That's awesome. And which restaurant is that here in the city?
It is Heritage.
It's Heritage.
Where Commissary was and still is. And it's where we do our Tuesday pop-ups now.
Okay, very cool.
For our listeners, what is a commissary?
It's so when we started the farmers market, we didn't have a kitchen. We didn't have, any place to hold our food, cook it, prep it. So we have to find a kitchen that allows us to use the equipment and, hold our food, for Sundays. and that's Heritage was our commissary.
And that's very similar to the model you used as well, right, Tommy? Like you had a like a partner that already had like a company or something that
Yeah.
like helped brew.
Yeah,
right?
similar. Yeah, we, Wilson and I, neither of us are brewmasters. We know enough to be dangerous, I think is kind of what we say. But we were kind of working on these recipes, working with folks that knew more than we did to kind of really dial them in. We didn't feel confident enough to try to build a brewery. And so we thought, well, let's work with existing breweries with our own recipes and then kind of brew on site there. And so it can be called contract brewing or gypsy brewing, but it's a model that a number of folks, 21st Amendment was doing it for a long time out here. So then we kind of bounced around from brewery to brewery and we're making our stuff, from the get-go. And we're still doing that. We love it because then we don't have to, pour a ton of money and time into equipment, things like that. We get to be a little bit more nimble.
So where's your beer brewed today?
We have a couple different spots where we brew. We brew some in Santa Clara with Devil's Canyon Brewery, and then a lot in actually Wisconsin, in Potosi, Wisconsin, right outside of Dubuque, Iowa. A big reason for that, we sell in about 25 states around the country, and we're coast to coast, and so centrally it makes a lot of sense. And then two, what we focus on is these fruited radlers, and so we mix beers with fruit juices, and you need specialized mixing equipment. Everything needs to be stabilized and pasteurized really is the right way to do that. There's not that many breweries that have that. It's a big hulking piece of equipment, and most of the places you find pasteurizers are in these old school upper Midwest breweries. It works pretty well for us.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. And that has like a strong like science base to it, right? Food science and everything.
Yeah.
You mentioned pasteurization. You mentioned adding the fruit juice after fermentation, right? I know a lot of like the sort of the fruity beers from, some of the bigger, the biggest players, they use like artificial flavorings and stuff like that. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. If you're brewing with fruit or things like that, you're essentially what's going to happen is your yeast is still active. And so it's going to eat up a lot of the fruit and a lot of the kind of, and leave the rind essentially. And so that's why with a lot of fruit beers, you can feel more bitter and more rindy. And so for us, mixing it afterwards, if you don't do it with flavors, if you're really adding juice, your yeast should be kind of full or dead, but essentially you're adding in a lot of extra sugar, a lot of extra fuel to a what was once a fermenting beverage. And so without pasteurization, you can run into bottle bombs, can bombs, stuff like that. That's everybody's worst nightmare.
Yeah.
So,
Makes sense. Makes sense. And Max, I know that your company name Maillards, right, is spelled differently than a mallard duck, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you've got the duck as the logo, which I think is really cool, and the legs are the L's, super clever.
Right.
But Maillards has a different meaning, right? And
Yes.
that's like a food science thing as well.
So it's part of like the lore, if you will. The word is pronounced Maillards correctly. I believe it's a French word. But to your point, when I first came up with the name, it's called the Maillard reaction. Maillard reaction is simply if someone were like to say brown the meat or the caramelization on the steak or the crust, it is just the browning of proteins, that dark, brown color. I originally thought that word was pronounced Mallards as well, and hence the duck. And then I was on Google one day typing in the word, and I saw a little translate / like the speaker icon, and I hit it, and it said Maillard. I'm like, oh boy, do I have a situation on my hands now, because I came up with the logo, the duck holding the burger, and all of it. But I was like, it's one letter off. Let's just roll with it, and hence Maillards, Mallard, duck. So
well, and it honestly, I think it's super clever, right? And because people have that conversation, like it's misspelled, is that how it's spelled, and everything. So it actually creates a nice conversation. Honestly, really, it does.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, please.
What do people usually call
Oh man.
Yeah.
I could not tell you the amount of different pronunciations. Mallards, Maillards, Mallards, just it's all. I probably get 10 to 20 questions on it daily.
So what do you call it now? Like, what is your official?
I simply put two words together, my and then yard. So
my yards. All right. So now for anyone listening, it's
There you
my
go.
yards.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
I still could be wrong, so don't hold me to it.
Great.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about pronouncing things correctly. There are a lot of cities in Kentucky named after European cities: Paris, London, Versailles. But if you pronounce it Versailles, nobody knows what you're talking about. You have to pronounce it Versailles. So I'm going to still say Maillards.
Yeah.
To each their own, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the things that everybody knows in San Francisco and the San Francisco food scene is like the cost of doing business out here, right? You all have a unique business model where you have a shared space, but then you each run your own individual businesses, basically separately, but also complementary. How did that idea kind of come about? And how do you see that being a potential framework for like future businesses?
Yeah, so Wilson and I kind of came up with this, I guess. I don't know if we were really reinventing the wheel, but we had this idea when we were opening our spot in Oakland. We had to have food because of our licensing, and neither of us had run a kitchen. Unlike Max, I do not have a knack for cooking. So we were looking at this, we were like, oh man, do we hire a chef? How do we do this? And we thought, well, we could try to half-ass it, or we could find somebody that's really invested into it, and see if we can get them to run our food program. So out there in Oakland, we partnered up with Lovely's, and they were doing just pop-ups at the time as well, and said, look, here's the deal. You come in, you can run this kitchen space, we run the bar. It also makes these spots more approachable. You're kind of, you're splitting costs. There's a lot of really great things about it. So that was our trial run, and it worked great out there. And so, now we don't really have interest in running our own kitchen, at any point. And so when we were looking into San Francisco, really the thing that jump-started it was I live in the Outer Sunset, and right around the corner from the Outer Sunset Farmers Market, saw Max get written up. And especially like the baseball connection was pretty fun. So I was like, oh, no way. Like, I've seen the line, but I've never actually waited in it. So let me go over there and introduce myself. We started chatting, and next thing you know, we're looking for spots.
Max, let me ask you, what drew you to the Sunset itself?
So when I first moved to San Francisco, the Sunset was my first place. Chose it, actively. It was close to Heritage, the bus or bike. So I was familiar with it. But to fast forward to when we first opened up our pop-up, I always had a farmer's market in mind. That was always going to be our first endeavor. I looked at Clement Street, looked at the Ferry Building, of course. Something just drew me to the Sunset. It was more community centered. It was more our vibe. I'm a small town kid from, Greensburg, Pennsylvania. So like, the hustle and bustle, the Ferry Building was like maybe much for me and my vision. And I just grew to the Sunset. Again, the community, the people, the style, the vibe. I really had my eyes set on it.
Tommy, did you have like similar feelings about the Sunset? Because you mentioned you already lived here.
Yeah, I lived here, so I knew it pretty well. If anything, it's funny. I felt like I was playing devil's advocate a little bit. I mean, I love the Sunset, absolutely love it. And especially the Outer Sunset, I was really convinced that it was underserved for the kind of how the neighborhood had changed of late, especially with the park opening up. I think a lot more demand out there too, as Max was really honing in on the Sunset and we were both looking at the space. I was really excited, but I also said, look, it's foggy, like classically hard to get people out here, and just making sure, talking to my team. And then, when everyone was saying, no, we want to do this, I was like, okay, great. Then now I can, now I feel no shame and no guilt. So
very good.
It was great.
Yeah, 100%.
So when did you guys actually start thinking about opening a brick and mortar location?
Oh man.
When was that? It was like 2 years ago?
Yeah, sounds right.
Yeah, probably 2 years ago.
A while.
So it's been like 2 years in the making, and you guys officially opened your doors when?
Well, 2 months ago.
Yeah,
Wow.
something like that.
Yeah.
Like our spot in Oakland is in an old auto repair shop. We really wanted to find something with kind of just something interesting, something in the building, some history, some feeling there that we could work with. And so we looked at a couple spots, and then once you start engaging with lease negotiations and then permitting process, that's like those two things right there is like a year almost. So yeah.
And for the building itself, it used to be where Gus's was. Did that like factor into your decision and the history of the location?
Oh, totally. I mean, this was like the community hub. I mean, it was basically a food desert out there in the Outer Sunset, except for Noriega produce for a long time. And so I think knowing the neighborhood and kind of knowing the history there, Dimitri and Bobby are our landlords, the Gus's guys, and they're awesome.
For listeners who may not have seen the lines firsthand, can you tell us like what sense in terms of volume are you serving on a daily basis?
More than I expected. Every time you look at the line, we just never get a sense of like a moment, which is a great problem to have. And I think if you would have come see us the first 1 or 2 weeks, I think it's night and day on how efficient, how much better we're doing collectively. But it seems like all of Sunset seems to be there at least once or twice since opening. So
Everybody waits for the lines to die down, and then they give in, and then
Yeah.
they wait in line. That's what we did. We waited maybe a week and a half
Right.
after you guys.
Yeah.
And one thing that was really great about your space is that, because you have beers ready to go, you don't have to wait for a beer other than the line.
Yep.
You can go and enjoy that while you're waiting in
Mhm.
line and chat with your friends or neighbors, whoever you're with, or, even you just meet somebody new. Right. That's one of the things that I really love about
Yeah.
your space.
Right.
So the line, not so bad. Right.
right.
Yeah, the line culture isn't too bad. We're
But you're working on it, right?
we're always trying to
We-
work
we
on it.
are,
We were
we
just
are.
over there before this, and it's like, can we change the seating? It's like we're trying to be as efficient as we can in the
Right.
space that we've got, basically.
Huh.
But yeah, I mean, it's like Max said, it's a great problem to have.
How many people do you think run through every night?
So we're getting hundreds of people in there a day. Yeah, I would say.
So both of you are baseball players. Do you take any of the lessons that you've learned from baseball and apply it to your work today?
Oh yeah. I mean, that's who made me, who I am today. And it's embedded in me. Just the competition, just that natural, just being driven. Like never say no, never stop trying. Trying to make things better. And it's like if we do get more efficient, we do get better. All it is another, starting line. And trying to be the best that I was baseball wise. Back in my day, just that competitiveness.
Yeah. And I think also, I mean, baseball is classically a game of failure. You fail 2 out of 3 times that you're up there and you're, best hitter in the league. And it's also something where I think it's been nice, especially doing this now for a decade and a half, you fail all the time, constantly making mistakes or doing something you wouldn't otherwise do. And so I think having that kind of background in baseball and being well acquainted with failure is, it makes it a lot easier to just kind of turn the page and try again the next day and go from there.
Well, what I'm hearing is though it's the getting yourself back up. They only see the successes, but
Mhm.
actually it's through a series of failures that people who refuse to give up that finally make it to where you guys are, right?
The dream of 2 pitchers 15 years ago is completely different from what it is today. And like we've pivoted hundreds of times since then. And so I think it's like being willing to mess up, not have something go well, try something else and work on something. So yeah.
Nice. So we've seen businesses like Andytown, Devil's Teeth, Hookfish, Palm City, and now you guys become the destinations in their own right. Do you see that the success of the other businesses also gave you confidence to open up in the Sunset District?
I certainly think so. Very familiar with all of those. I've been patronizing them for a while now. From when I moved here in 2017 and just the progress and the new storefronts and everything, I think it's just made us more confident in our decisions, coming and bringing, 2 pitchers in Maillards to the Sunset.
You see the excitement in the neighborhood again, especially living out there when these things are popping up and new things are happening. And we were very confident if you build it, they'll come. I mean, there's so many people,
Right.
there's so many folks that live out there and there's a need. Also, I mean, during the construction process, people were banging the doors down. So that also helped.
I have to point out that's a baseball reference.
yeah.
So,
Right.
Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
All right. When you think about success 5-10 years from now, what would you like your impact on the Sunset and the community to be?
I think we see this space and I think make it always unique, make it its own, never stray from that. And I want it to be a place for people in the Sunset and for those who travel out there to connect and eat good food, have good beer, drinks, and just have it be around.
Yeah. I think we always try to focus on, doing things the right way and good things happen. And so treating people with respect, our staff, our customers, trying to kind of just give it our best. And yeah, so I think like if it's a community space, if people feel like they're being appreciated, both the folks that work there and the folks that come in,
Mhm.
like you can't fail. That's how we like to treat it and how we like to think about it.
Well, the Sunset is so lucky to have you guys.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Ted?
Yeah. So a question for Max. What is Tommy's favorite thing to order from Maillards?
Oh, he told me the other day it's the bird.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
bird's eye.
The
bird's eye.
Sorry, yeah, not the chicken sandwich, the bird's eye. Sorry.
Yeah.
What is the bird's eye?
We make our own ginger herb salads. We have like Thai basil, mint, kaffir lime leaves, cilantro, and then that's with the vinaigrette. And then we have our fried shallots on there with white American cheese. And then we do our own Thai style chili aioli.
That sounds
So
delicious.
it's spicy, sweet, umami. It's really good.
It is good. It's a super interesting burger. It's like one of my favorite burgers I've ever had. So,
Well, same question for you, Tommy. What is Max's favorite drink to order from Two Pitchers?
Ooh,
the Weekender.
got it.
Yeah? Why the Weekender?
The passion fruit.
he
is
loves
my
passion
favorite.
fruit, yeah.
It's one of my
Yeah.
favorite flavors.
Yeah, it's my wife's favorite too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
yeah.
looking at a way to incorporate it into our menu to some degree.
I love it.
shortly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Max is a question for you. Who is Rosie?
You got me.
Yeah? Okay.
I got it.
I'll give you a hint. We were just talking about Rosie on the way here.
Who is Rosie?
Rosie's not a human.
You still got me. I don't know.
That's the old Airstream.
Oh,
That was her name.
The trailer.
Yeah, the trailer.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how many rivets we put into that thing,
Yeah.
but like thousands and thousands of rivets. And so Rosie the Riveter. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
great.
sure.
It was Rosie the River.
Yeah,
even.
yeah,
I didn't know that
exactly.
piece. That's
Yeah.
great.
All right. So, for our listeners, how can they find you and when can they find you?
For us, that's the brick-and-mortar Wednesday through Sunday. We open up earlier on Saturdays, Sundays, weekend. And then we are still at the farmers market, and we are still at the Tuesday pop-up at Heritage.
What are the addresses for your Oakland and for the Outer Sunset?
So yeah, in Oakland, it's 2344 Webster Street. It's in Uptown Oakland between 24th and 25th on Webster. And then out here, 3821 Noriega Street in the old Noriega Produce Building. But just head to the beach, go to Noriega, and then walk a couple blocks up, and you'll find it.
Yep.
See him spot the line.
You'll spot the line. Yes. Well, Tommy and Max, thank you both for joining us today and sharing your story. I also want to thank my co-host, Ted, for helping us put this conversation together and bringing his perspective as a fellow Sunset resident, neighbor, and supporter of local businesses. For years, many people viewed the West Side as a place to live, but not necessarily as a destination. That's changing. More and more people are coming to the Sunset to eat, to gather, to spend time together, and businesses like yours are helping shape that transformation. So thanks to everyone listening, and if you haven't yet visited either Two Pitchers or Maillards, please be sure to check them out and support local businesses.
It's okay to call them Mallards.
Yeah.
Or Maillards,
Yeah.
yes. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to The Sunset Connection. I'm Jessica Ho, and until next time, I'll see you in the neighborhood.